Welcome to the Fast Leader Podcast, where we uncover the leadership life hacks that help you to experience breakout performance faster and rocket to success. And now, here's your host, customer and employee engagement expert and certified emotional intelligence practitioner, Jim Rimbach.
Thanks, Kimberly. Okay, Fast Leader Legion. Today, I have the opportunity to share with you somebody who I met who, when I did meet her, I thought, man, she seems interesting, and I have to hear her story, and I think it would be a great story for the Fast Leader Legion, and that's why she's on the show today. And her name is Carrie Weston. Carrie was raised in a very conservative small town just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan, called Jenison, Michigan. She was the middle child of three and was 16 years old when her father provided some life-defining direction. He said, "Kid, you're smart, you're going to college, and you're paying for it. Figure it out." Being a self-admitted daddy's girl and being a rule follower by nature, she did just that. She elected to commute from home and attended Grand Valley State, studying health science, where, among many other experiences, she teacher-assisted anatomy labs working on cadavers. Carrie held many jobs to pay for this education, including working at a gas station as a cashier and as an automotive parts clerk, waitress, phlebotomist, and finally as a second shift shipping dock clerk at an automotive remanufacturing center. Proudly, Carrie achieved her first goal by obtaining her bachelor's degree and graduating debt-free by the time that she was 22 years old. After a few technical laboratory jobs, including working in an automotive chemical metallurgical lab and environmental testing facility where she ran cyanide analysis every day, she knew she wanted more. Finally selling her skills until they agreed to interview her, Carrie landed a job with a company she sought and actively recruited because of their global position and culture and values. 20 years later, she is still employed by Amway Corporation and proudly holds the title of Global Voice of the Customer Program Owner for Quality Assurance. Carrie spends her free time either at sporting events or unplugged up north in Michigan with her 4 boys and husband, where they actively hunt and fish. Carrie, are you ready to help us get over the hump?
I am.
Okay. Well, I've given our listeners a brief introduction, but can you please tell us what your current passion is so that we can get to know you better?
Sure. My current passion is split between spending time with my family, who are my first priority and pride and joy, and then also spending time as a growing leader here at Amway working with my team.
So when you talk about growing leader, what does that mean for you?
Oh my gosh. I think every leader grows over time, and I've been at this formally as a leader for 3 years. There's a whole lot that I need to learn, and I count on my peers for that, and I hope I never lose that.
Now, you talk about peers, and a lot of us have certain ways that we actually use those peers in order to help us do that growing. What are some of the things that you do?
I don't consider myself an island. I have a group of peers here who have been down a similar path. And even if they haven't been down the same path, they all have great advice and experiences that I can learn from to help me along and guide my journey.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sources that, many of us use in order to do just that. And one of the things that we focus in on a Fast Leader show is leadership quotes, because they can give us some insight, different perspective, and things that we otherwise just wouldn't find on our own. Is there a quote or two for you that kind of does just that? Can you share it with us?
Absolutely. I did some reflection on this because there's been one quote that I've held tight to for a very long time, and it still resonates with me. So I'm not going to change it on you. And that one's from Theodore Roosevelt. And it is, "No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care." And I tend to take a very servant leadership approach with my team and family. And that one really guides my decisions and what I do.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good quote. And I've kind of heard a little bit, different versions of that throughout the course of time. And I don't know. For me, it just resonates so much when you think about, what really motivates people. That intrinsic drive. I also heard one thing that talks about, people would say it's a misnomer to think that you need to make the effort of trying to get people to like you. Really, the effort, it really should be spent around trying to get people to realize that you like them.
Right. Knowing that people are okay in their own world and investing time into them and making sure they're personally okay first gets you a whole lot farther with your family and in leadership.
And there's times where I know for myself where I didn't quite do that. We often call those burning of bridges and things like that, and that we wish we can go back and, correct in real time would be ideal to do that. And that's one of the things that we focus on the Fast Leader Show, is to try to give people experiences and insights from others so that hopefully they can stop in the moment and not burn a bridge, because you never know when you may have to cross it again. So I know I've had humps to get over. We all have. I mean, you talked about in your bio, the hump of having to actually pay for your own education, and you got over that hump. But is there a time where you can remember a hump that you had to get over and it kind of really gave you, that learning so that you can actually move onward and upward faster? Could you share that story with us?
Sure. Very early on in my career here at Amway, probably about 5 years in, I had moved into the supply chain department and was doing well, but Amway's sales had taken a turn. And we were looking at restructuring and reorganizing. And at that point, there was a lot of internal movement as well as recruiters calling actively. And a pivotal moment in one's career might be, do I want to be an individual contributor? Do I want to be a leader and take up an offer? Or do I even want to leave this company? So there was a lot of self-reflection for me. I choose to try and be as self-aware of my own needs as I can be. And the one big hump that was very obvious to me was, just because the time's right for someone else doesn't mean the time is right for me. And I have to be clear on what I want in that. And there were some great leaders here who helped me navigate that. I
think a lot of times people kind of get stuck on the fence because of that whole fear issue, fear of failure, fear of leaving and losing. I mean, all of those fear factor components. How are you able to balance that fear factor to know that you did make the right decision?
I gave it a good amount of time. I ended up actually getting recruited away from the company, and I got an offer. And I know myself, and the offer didn't feel good. It didn't feel right to leave. So I took the time that it needed to think it through and to be true to myself and really reflect on what was right for me at the time and to be honest about it.
So I know for me, I kind of did the opposite, meaning that I had an opportunity and I took it. And actually, this has happened more than once. So you think, shame me twice. But anyway, I didn't do a good job of evaluating the opportunity. And, maybe I needed to have a little bit more fear and apprehension, but I made the leap and it was not the right leap. I mean, what are some of the things that stuck out to you to tell you, no, this ain't it?
It didn't feel right to take the offer, right? And considering my options, I had chosen to be at Amway. I had sought this company out and it felt good to be here. And I knew my work here wasn't done. Just the time wasn't right with what I was being asked to do. And I chose to be very honest with my leadership and laid the offer out and had a discussion with them about what this meant to them. And thankfully, they came back with a beautiful counteroffer and some additional points to invest in my growth, to both meet my financial needs, but my personal needs too, which I think was wise on their behalf.
So there's a couple of things that you mentioned within that, story, and please, then thank you again for sharing it. But, you talked about seeking them out and really reinforcing that decision as you were going through this journey. I mean, what are some of the things that actually caused you to have that tighter bond to Amway and held you there?
The culture that we have here, the opportunity that this company holds, my peer group, and I was very tightly vested in the work that I was doing. Someone said to me once, if you're going to leave, you need to know what you're running to, right? Are you running from something or are you running to something? And if you're going to run to something, are you clear what that is? Just because the offer was made doesn't mean that's what I wanted. Sure, it was tempting, but that's not necessarily where I wanted to be. That wasn't my end point.
Now, you mentioned the word culture and talking about seeking them out and opportunities and things like that. What are some of the things specifically that ties you to the Amway organization?
Amway is built on a culture of community and on relationships. And the goal here is to help people live better lives, right? That's what we do. And this company holds true to doing that for employees as well as ABOs or distributors or customers.
I know when we had the opportunity to meet at the Customer Experience Professionals Association Member Insight Exchange recently, you were talking about a project that was global in nature, that was really taking and consuming a lot of your time and effort. And, we were sharing a whole lot of ideas about, some of the humps in regards to some of that project work that you were doing and getting over them. But when you think about that particular role and what you're doing now with Amway, what are some of the things specifically that it gives you that excitement?
Oh, it's the ability to make a change. So I now manage a division of the complaint department. So I can either choose to get in the hole every day because all we hear is bad news, or I can choose to do something about it, right? And I'm being afforded the opportunity to change some of the game here, to do something about it and contribute to helping people live better lives by running a business that we offer.
So, Carrie, I know I've been in service recovery opportunities, throughout my career, and I can arguably say that I'm even in that now when you come to professional business. But when you think about constantly hearing the negative, it is so draining for folks. I mean, how do you find a way to actually keep them motivated when they're always hearing negative? Is there a story that you can share with us about how you do that?
Sure. The nature of what we do every day is managing product complaints. And that can be a functional complaint where a product's not doing what we need it to, or it could be something that's a little less serious. And, the goal for my team is to solve the problem, right? So that people understand and their needs are met. But then also taking that situation, learning from it, engaging our peers internally in product development and marketing, and making a change to the product so that we don't head down that same path again. So they get to run an offense. They get to choose to participate in running an offense.
So it sounds like the motivation comes from not just actually doing that service recovery in moment, but it's also knowing that there is an impact and effect downstream that could ultimately make a product change. And people can see that through the process. That's what it sounds like.
Absolutely. We can affect our future, right? We don't have to sit back and just manage complaints. We can choose to do something about it that's more forward looking. And it puts the company in a better light. It serves someone's business a little better in the future.
I know that this particular role is something that you're currently doing right now, and you've been with the organization for a long time. What are some of your goals?
Oh my goodness. That's a hard question, Jim. I tend to not take a 5-year macro view. I tend to take my view of my career in much shorter sprints. And it's built mostly around what I'm learning. So I have a deep interest now in staying with Amway if I can and learning more about other parts of the organization, specifically sales, our affiliates, and the ABOs, because the experience with the customer experience is so intriguing to me and it's brand new.
So you mentioned ABO a couple times. What is ABO?
ABOs are our Amway business owners. So Amway is a direct sell company, and people can choose to sign up for the business opportunity and run their own small Amway business.
So, Carrie, you talked about taking not taking a macro view at what your goals and your aspirations are, which, a lot of people actually think, much further down the road, looking at 5-year, 10-year plan and where they want to retire and all of those things. And, you're taking a much shorter view. So why do you take that viewpoint versus the longer?
I think it's based on some of the learnings that I've had in my most recent past. I sought out the help of a career counselor who gave me much smaller sound bites to work in. I'm not interested in having to become the director of this or the VP of that. I'm more interested in taking the skills and the knowledge that I have and understanding what's in my sweet spot and helping that match with something that the company offers. Because really in coaching and developing people, that's where you get the most out of someone. So I'm not interested in the title or the role. I'm more interested in getting the fit.
I think that is where a lot of us need to probably do a better job of, is focusing in on fit, because if not, it ends in frustration. And
Exactly.
So thanks for sharing that viewpoint. And the Fast Leader Legion wishes you the very best. All right, here we go, Fast Leader Legion. It's time for the Hump Day Hoedown. Okay, Carrie, the Hump Day Hoedown is the part of our show where you give us good insights fast. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and your job is to give us robust yet rapid responses that are going to help us move onward and upward faster. Carrie Weston, are you ready to hold down?
You bet.
All right. So what do you think is holding you back from being an even better leader today?
I tend to have a lot of energy, and I tend to be an inspirational and visionary leader. And I know that my energy can sometimes be too fast for some others, and I need to read better my audience so that I can give them a chance to warm up to my ideas.
What is the best leadership advice you have ever received?
The best advice I received was from one of our directors, and he told me it's okay to be uncomfortable.
So what is one of your secrets that you believe contributes to your success?
Every day, and I don't get this every day. I'm not a master at it, but I try to get up and have an attitude of gratitude every day. I should be thankful for what I'm being offered.
What do you feel is one of your best resources that helps you lead in business or life?
Leadership in life is my peer group here, seeking out fellow leaders.
What would be one book you would recommend to our listeners?
The book I read most recently is called Knowing Your Value, and it just gives a really good perspective. I'm not really pro-feminist. I'm more pro-knowledge, and it gives a really good balance of knowledge that I did not have before for myself and for others.
Okay, Fast Leader Legion, you can find links and other bonus information from today's show by going to fastleader.net/Carrie Weston. Okay, Carrie, this is my last hump day hoedown question. Imagine you were given the opportunity to go back to the age of 25, and you've been given the opportunity to take the knowledge and skills that you have now back with you, but you can't take everything. You have to choose one. What one skill or piece of knowledge would you take back with you, and why?
I would take back with me the ability to earn trust faster. I think if my team were suffering or struggling, I would seek to walk a mile in their shoes first. Whereas when I was 25, I think I would have rolled up my sleeves and just tried to fix it for them. Just the wrong way to go about it.
Carrie Weston, it was an honor to spend time with you today. Can you please share with the Fast Leader listeners how they can connect with you?
Sure. They can get a hold of me on my LinkedIn account at Carrie Weston.
Carrie Weston, thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. The Fast Leader Legion honors you and thanks you for helping us get over the hump. Woo-hoo! Thank you for joining me on the Fast Leader Show today. For recaps, links from every show, special offers, and access to download and subscribe, if you haven't already, head on over to fastleader.net so we can help you move onward and upward faster.